It's time now for our Athlete of the Week, and it's brought to you by Diamond Point and Sauk Center. This is a Sauk Center athlete. This is Alea Gerhartz, who is our Athlete of the Week. Well, let's talk about, first of all, who's in your family. Tell us everybody, okay?
All right, we got my mom and my dad. My mom, Rachel, she's the kindergarten teacher here at Sauk, and my dad is a state trooper. My older brother, Jacob, he's a sophomore at St. Thomas this year, and Joseph, who's a sophomore here.
All right. What activities are you involved in at school?
3 sports: volleyball, basketball, track, and then choir and band, and captains and leaders club.
Okay. Well, that keeps you busy, doesn't it?
For sure.
All right. Let me ask you this now. You're a volleyball player in the fall. Your mom is the cross-country coach. I know your dad runs. Your brothers certainly run. What happened to you with volleyball? How did that all get going?
We talked about it a little this year, and knowing that I needed to be in good shape coming up for basketball, but since I've been in volleyball for so long, we knew that was a sport I should stick with. And coming from a running family, it helps really that I run in the off season and I'm in track, so that helps a lot with volleyball, running the mile, staying in shape for basketball. It's beneficial a lot, actually.
So are you telling me now, this is news to me, that you may have not have played volleyball this last year?
There was a very slim chance, like 1% chance. Just because my mom was the coach, we talked about it, but we knew volleyball was probably was going to be the option.
Mm-hmm. Now, volleyball and basketball and track, and I like to bring up, as you grew up with these sports, let's start with volleyball and into basketball too. Who are some of the players that you used to watch and learn from, and what did you learn from those players?
I think a lot, like when I was growing up, going to the camps, and Jill Gruber, I know, was one of the girls who always helped out. So watching her a lot, Savannah Weller, Macy, watching Jenna Sett, and Ashley Coleman, I know last year was a big person for me to watch for volleyball because that was the position I was looking to play, and she seemed to do both defense and hitting really well. So that was somebody I looked up to for that spot. Mm-hmm. And basketball, really, I got to look at varsity my sophomore year, sitting on the bench, and got to watch Callie and all those girls play, and wanted to be just like that and running up and down the court. And I actually look a lot for assists, kind of like that record for the Callie, I think, has the record in assist game. So that's a lot what I look for, is that team first, that kind of mentality, and watching them helped.
You know, I'd like to touch on your volleyball play because you're an outside hitter, and now you're not 6 feet tall. And so you have to adjust. And can you talk about how you have to adjust? How do you play volleyball to become such an effective hitter as you are?
I think a lot of it came like working on my vertical this year and doing a lot of those jumping activities, and then learning to watch the blocker and hit over it or hit around it. That was a major thing for me. And this year I just started being able to hit line. I remember at the beginning of the season I couldn't do it at all, and that really frustrated me. So I worked on it a lot, and that actually became one of my strengths down the road. So that's hitting over the blocker and getting that line really helped out in the long run.
Do you sense then, too, as younger players are watching you play, that, again, you don't necessarily have to be 5'11", 6 feet tall to be an effective player, right?
Right, and I think this year's team was a really good example of that. Amanda and Becca were really, and Megan were really the only tall girls we had. So we all had that, Allie, Mass, and I, and Ashley, we all had that average 5'8", 5'7" height. So even getting some touches can help in the front row, even if you're not getting those ace blocks all the time.
Mm-hmm. I want to ask you, since you're a senior, and going back to last year, granted there was a lot of seniors on that volleyball team and basketball too, and I'm sure you girls are telling me that you hear this talk of, oh, how good is Sauk Center going to be in volleyball, and are you hearing the same thing with basketball, and what do you have to say about that?
We actually, before practice tonight, we went to Bergman's room, and he had up on his projector the preview for the 2A, the rankings, and we weren't in the rankings, so that's a lot of motivation for us. And granted, we don't have a lot of experience coming again just like volleyball, but I think we're a team-first kind of team, and we're good at running the court and seeing that open pass down, and just all around tough defense again, like always. That'll be a main focus for us, but I think running the court's also going to be a big advantage for us.
Mm-hmm. Let's talk about then, too, about just you personally. What are your strengths in basketball? As I watch you guys play, I know that you love to play defense. You play some good double team, and maybe it relates to volleyball, too. Defense is a big part here, isn't it?
Definitely, and Mr. Bergman's that's always been a focus for Sauk's teams, and I guess myself, I try and focus on that, and always trying to take away the middle or beat my girl to the spot because I guess I consider myself kind of quick, so I try and live up to that. And other than that, I just really focusing this year on trying to get to the lane and look for the shot more because I've also just been kind of known for passing a lot lately, so trying to get around that more.
Let me ask you this way. On a scale of 1 to 10, with 10 being the most, how competitive are you?
11. Gym club hockey this year, if you ever noticed Jenna, I guess, Jenna, you could tell she's hard on herself, and I guess I kind of am too, so I would say an 11 out of 10 for competitiveness.
You know, if you weren't going to say that number, I was going to say that myself because as I watch you play, you are competitive, but that's what it takes, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Definitely, and granted, I know I need to, you got to loosen up and take it easy on yourself sometimes, but I think that competitiveness, it really helps down in the long run, knowing that you need to get something done, and if something's going wrong, you can be that girl that says, no, that's enough, we got to get going, so that helps a lot.
Because I'll bring it back to volleyball. I think Coach Klophockey was telling me at one time, you and Katie Reitzman in the back row, and you both want that ball. And once in a while you might bump into each other. And as the season went on, what were some of the things that the coach was telling you too?
He always told us that if we ran into each other because we got that ball, we need to shake it off right away. And I think there was one incident where they thought we were angry with each other, so then we got paired up for the next practice, and we weren't supposed to leave each other's sides, which we didn't. And from there on out, during the games, every time we would do it to each other, we just laughed and smiled at each other. So really tried to shake that off easily.
Mm-hmm. You know, too, I'm just wondering, and I'm going to ask you, is coaching in your future? Because I was watching you at the captain's practice, and you were just kind of running the show out there, letting people know what's going on. Do you feel that you're attracted to that?
I guess so. And, like, my love for the game of basketball especially, I would look for coaching basketball if I were to coach. But I guess, like, I'm not decided on a major or anything. I haven't really fully looked into it, but I've considered maybe looking at coaching younger girls just because that's a way that I would be able to stay involved in the game and just keep going with that love of basketball.
Mm-hmm. So I'll ask you the question, like everybody's saying. So how good is the girls' basketball team going to be this year?
We're going to be pretty good, I think. We're going to be good off. Like you said, there's all those questions, losing all your seniors and stuff, but we've been playing together for a while. We know each other's strengths and weaknesses, and I think that's really going to play into our hands.
Mm-hmm. I should mention, too, or have you mentioned, some of your teammates that you've grown up with through the years. Who are some of those girls, and what do they mean to you?
All right, I think I'll say my fellow seniors, Beth Ellis, Julie Bouchard, Allie Peterson, Amanda Weir. Emily Winters didn't go out this year, and we lost a few other seniors like Megan North and Caitlin Durbin in the long run. But it's been great growing up next to them and being able to play with them because you just become a part of a family. And like I said before, you know each other's strengths and weaknesses. You know how to pick each other up all the time, and your sisters on the court and off the court.
Mm-hmm. Well, we wish you well. It was sure a lot of fun watching you guys play volleyball. And maybe we should touch on too that last match. What was that like for you out there?
I always thought at the beginning of the year, knowing basketball is my main focus, that maybe it'd be a little bit easier for volleyball. But that last game, it hits you really hard going into your last game, and we knew it was a now or never chance. And after you lose, you win some, you lose some. But it was hard losing that final game, and that realization that you're gonna now put on your volleyball jersey for Sauk Center, and that's one less sport you get to rep in. It's hard and it hits you, but I guess on to the next sport. Time for basketball.
Mm-hmm. All right. Well, I think I speak for all the fans that it's, again, a joy watching you and your teammates play. It's a lot of fun. I mean, to me, Alea, you are the definition of Sauk Center athletics for the females. You're mentally tough, you're prepared, you're determined, and you really deserve the success you guys have. And so you go get them this winter, okay?
All right, thanks. We will. We'll try. We'll get that.
All right, thank you. That's Alea Gerhartz, who is our Athlete of the Week, and it's here on Mid-Minnesota Sports, brought to you by Diamond Point in Sauk Center.